what's that like when you want to retake a scene because you know you could have done it better, but they're like, Jonathan, enough's enough, we got to move on. Has that happened, or?
I'm never indulgent, but if I feel strongly about it, Dallas knows that if I'm glitched, that there's something that we need to revisit.
Mm-hmm.
There are times when I need to do it again, and we are running out of time, or we're in overtime. When you're in overtime, it's not just me that's in overtime. It's 150, 200 people that are all in overtime. And so that's costing exponentially more.
Yeah.
But I know, depending on the moment, the sacredness of the moment, that it has to be done right. And he knows it has to be done right. And while it might be a little painful to do it again or a third time, I rarely do it more than 2 or 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
We're not that kind of a show. We don't have that kind, indisposable budgets. But if I need to do it again, I'm going to ask for it. And we'll do it. And more often than not, it will have been worth taking that extra moment. And it's like, okay, yeah. Sometimes you'll do it, and it's like, Dallas will say to me, I actually liked your first take, but I'm like, okay, well, thank you. Thank you for letting me, at least, I had to try something that felt different, because you can't see outside of your face. You don't know what you're doing.
Great quote.
You can't see.
I'm going to make a shirt that says that. You can't see outside of your face, Jonathan Roumie.
You cannot see, contrary to popular belief, you cannot see outside of your face. Said by me.
Yeah.
So unless I'm watching a monitor all the time, and then, again, that takes time. Then then you're doubling the time. You're going and looking at the take from start to finish. That just took 3 minutes. Now you got to take 3 minutes to watch it. But if I need to see what I'm doing, or there's like a frame or something that it needs to be happening in this frame, and I need to know what it looks like to see if I can get it to look better, I'll ask to see it again. Or like, especially if it's something that's extremely nuanced, where I want to make sure something was coming across, I will look at it, and then as long as I see it as well, or if I know I can do something more, even if he's like, that was great.
Yeah.
I'm like, let me just try this one. It's really important for me to try this one thing. He'd be like, okay, let's do it.
I mean, that's really a sign that you haven't given up on the art yet.
Oh,
As
never.
you say, I can see people getting towards the end of a day being like, look, I'm just going to call it a day. That's going to be enough for me.
Yeah.
But to continue to have that attitude of, I could do that a little bit better, that's a sign that,
Well, I mean, as an artist, it's like you are your own canvas. Like you are your work. People see that thing. And if you give up, they're out. The minute you stop trying, they're disconnected.
Yeah.
The minute you stop trying to be authentic and true and real and grounded and personal and intimate, nobody cares.
Yep.
You've lost them in the story.
Yeah. People have asked me if I get sick of doing this. I'm like, no, actually, like legitimately, unironically, no, I love it. I love talking to people.
Yeah.
And if I stopped being interested in other people, I should definitely stop.
Should do something else.
Yeah, I should definitely do something else. I know, I think both Joe Rogan and Tucker Carlson say they don't. That's for you. That's fresh.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I
should have told you there was water here.
No, that's okay.
Did I fill it up?
No, there's no water.
Is there a water bottle over there?
I don't think so.
Josiah, do you mind? Yeah. The two of them say they don't read their comments.
Joe and who?
Joe Rogan and Tucker Carlson don't read their comments. The comment section, which is a great way to stay sane. Because I don't know if you know much about Tucker Carlson, but he's got that big laugh that's very unique to him, and he'd go neurotic if you were to try to adjust your personality just so as to be palatable for everybody. You'd end up being palatable to nobody. You'd just be boring. You'd be bland. So I suppose, how important is it that you rely on people like Dallas and others to tell you, and you got to trust them, as opposed to everyone's opinion online or whatever?
That's exactly it. I mean, I trust Dallas. He trusts me. We trust each other implicitly. But there's also the intercommunication as artist to artist,
Yeah.
You're both, it has to be a collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
And I know he's got the bigger picture in his head as to what needs to happen over the course of not just one season, but 7 seasons of this, the arc of the story. He sees the arc. He knows the story beats in season 6 and 7. I don't. So he knows how it fits, and he knows what he's shooting next and what he shot before, and he's editing everything in his mind as he goes. But he also trusts me to do what I do, which is keeping track of the emotional beats and kind of knowing what level to kind of pitch things at, and will this match, and making sure I, converse with him to say, hey, is this too much for this scene? And, and then you have other characters in the scene as well. Like that, all of it has to be like a really well-balanced meal, like everything. You can't put too much of one ingredient or another, because one will overpower. And so having that trust is, it's so, it's implicit in what we do, that we have to do this with trust. Otherwise, we won't get anywhere, and it won't be done in the way that it deserves to be done. But that said, I think it's important to know that you have a voice and you have the ability to contribute. And if we come up with ideas, oftentimes there'll be, I'll have an idea about something that he might not have thought of, that could be funny or could be cute, or might actually be a way of sort of truncating like a paragraph. Say, well, what if I just did this gesture instead of saying all this? That would like it'll make this a little more succinct, or whatever it is. And he's open to that as well, At the end of the day, and I tell him this, especially if I'm taking an extra take or two or something, I want to try something else. I said this the other day. I said, at the end of the day, I'm always just trying to serve the story. Just all about the story. Mm-hmm. It's not about me. It's not about indulgence. And he's like, oh, of course. Like, there's no question. Yeah. But sometimes you're in a situation where it's like, what was it the other day? Like, I was in the emotional environment that I had to be in for this one particular scene was just very shut down, and I have to live in that space in order to authentically convey that in the scene.
Yep.
But sometimes it can come off to other people that don't quite know how that works in a person. It can come off as me, Jonathan, being shut down to people or standoffish or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I can't worry about that. I just have to operate in that space, and it does affect interactions.
Because you got to get in that headspace, not just for the scene, presumably, but when you're having lunch. Is that right? You got to get in the headspace apart from the scenes? Or?
Sometimes. Depending on how soon we're going to shoot certain things. If I don't have to live in a certain space, like I couldn't do what Daniel Day-Lewis does, which is to just live permanently for months at a time. Like, I don't know, that's some kind of gift where you can not come out of a character and live as that person for 24/7. It's exhausting. It's exhausting. And still have interactions. And so it's one of the reasons why I don't often have lunch with the whole crew, because if I have to stay in a certain space while I might not be thinking I'm Jesus while I'm having lunch in this space where I'm shut off from people, I have to still be accessible to that moment where I have to be shut off as Jonathan to play Jesus shut off. Like, whatever's happening in real life, I have to bring that. That's what I do to bring. That's what I bring into playing Jesus. The current circumstances of however I'm feeling have to match the scene in order to read as authentic and compelling, and people believing what I'm saying as this character. And so to do that, I need a lot of focus and isolation oftentimes. And so I think, there was this one scene the other night where it was that, and I think it kind of shifted a lot of people on set, because I think people weren't sure, like, if I was pissed off or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And once we call cut, the facade comes off, and everybody says, "Oh, he was working." Okay, and I'll occasionally just say, "Hey, just a reminder, I was working. It was a tough place for me to have to work, but thank you for giving me the grace to do so," and knowing that, and it's like, of course, like, yeah, of course. But sometimes you don't know, because it's such a weird thing. It's such a weird art.
Yeah.
To be able to do with any level of authenticity, because it involves you personally behaving differently sometimes to people.
I want to tell you about a course that I have created for men to overcome pornography. It is called strive21.com/Matt. You go there right now, or if you text STRIVE to 66866, we'll send you the link. It's 100% free, and it's a course I've created to help men, to give them the tools to overcome pornography. Usually men know that porn is wrong. They don't need me or you to convince them that it's wrong. What they need is a battle plan to get out. And so I've distilled all that I've learned over the last 15 or so years as I've been talking and writing on this topic into this one course. Think of it as if you and I could have a coffee over the next 21 days and I would kind of guide you along this journey. That's basically what this is. It's incredibly well produced. We had a whole camera crew come and film this. And I think it'll be a real help to you. And it's also not an isolated course that you go through on your own, because literally tens of thousands of men have now gone through this course. And as you go through the different videos, there's comments from men all around the world encouraging each other, offering to be each other's accountability partners and things like that. Strive21, that's strive21.com/Matt, or as I say, text STRIVE to 66866 to get started today. You won't regret it.